But now his most famous record is one he doesn't want. Year after year, he battles to the final of the game's Supreme Championship. And every time, someone else takes home the spoils from the famous Crucible. All that's left so far is a string of bitter disappointments for Jimmy White. Welcome, good evening, and Jimmy White's unsuccessful pursuit of this Embassy World Championship has fascinated millions for over a decade. He's had 6 appearances in the final, the first in 1984 when he lost out to Steve Davis. The last of them, well, that was the closest, 2 years ago, when he was within a black away from beating Stephen Hendry. But you know, in a way, tonight's first round match is just about as important as all those epic battles. Because if Jimmy White loses this match here, he drops out of the top 16. And very few players who ever left the elite managed to crawl their way back. The man White has to overcome is Euan Henderson. He's 28, he comes from Glenrothes in Scotland, a former electronics undergraduate at Abertay University. He was actually born in Australia. They've met once before, that was 2 years ago at the Grand Prix, and Henderson was the winner. This is how the match fits into the bottom half of the draw. All the other second round places are already filled, and it really is a tremendous lineup. Ronnie O'Sullivan against Tony Drago, the 2 fastest players in the game. John Higgins, number 2 favourite, against Alan McManus, both of them Scots, and both genuine contenders for the title. White or Henderson, they've got Peter Ebdon next. He's really flying. And right at the bottom there, well, the old stagers. Terry Griffiths, who won today, against Steve Davis, meeting for the 7th time at the Crucible. Davis has won all the meetings here, but Griffiths has beaten him in all 3 of the recent matches elsewhere. Top half, the one that includes the champion, Stephen Hendry, will meet Gary Wilkinson. Ken Doherty plays the winner of tonight's second table match. That's either Darren Morgan of Wales or Drew Henry, another Scot, and news of that in this programme. James Watanabe and Jimmy Mickey, another newcomer, stand at 4-5 overnight, and they finish tomorrow for the right to play last year's runner-up, Nigel Bond. And Dave Harold's next opponent is Rod Lawler, who beat John Parrott. That match could be really close. But out of all that, tonight is all about White versus Henderson. We begin at the beginning, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. This is Henderson playing his first ever shot in the Crucible. Paul Harrison there, the referee, and your commentary comes from John Virgo and Clive Everton.
Tempted the red, knowing that the best that he could leave for his opponent would be a tricky tester along the top cushion, and calculating that his opponent was still feeling some Crucible debut nerves. He felt able to do that, and Henderson sensibly refusing that shot, taking the cue ball to balk. Bit short on the safety from White. Is he a bit tight in the arm? This is a big match for him. He's got to win it to stay in snooker's elite top 16 and be sure being at the Crucible next year.
Well, very noticeable from the first couple of shots from Euan that his intention is to keep it tight and make it a tough, hard match.
bad kiss off the second red. It's left straight blue to corner.
Six. Seven.
Paul Harrison is refereeing this match.
Twelve. 13. 15.
Well, he needed a kiss. He's got a nice one.
Sixteen. 23.
Certainly crisp enough start.
24. 31. 32.
Jimmy White's been saying for a couple of months how well he's playing in practice without managing to bring that form into the arena. Perhaps he will tonight in the greatest arena of them all.
Yes, the Crucible has always brought the best out of Jimmy. There's not many people got a better record here, even though he's yet to win it. But just referring to his form, I've been playing quite a lot of shows with Jimmy just recently, and believe me, the ability's still there. But in all sport, confidence plays a big part.
45. 46.
Yes, and however well you're playing technically, it's when the issue of winning or losing rears its head when the game suddenly seems different.
53. 54.
61. Jimmy White, 61.
Pity about that from White's point of view. That red and a black, and Henderson would have needed a snooker.
One.
Packed house at the Crucible, and a test of nerve and temperament for this 28-year-old Scot. He's a pretty cool customer as a rule, though, and beat White in the Skoda Grand Prix at the beginning of last season.
Six. Seven.
Well, that couldn't have worked out much better.
13.
It's a frame-winning chance now.
Yes, but it would be a very big deal to take it in his very first frame at the Crucible. A 60-odd clear-up to win would be some feat in those circumstances.
Twenty-one. 22. 29.
A little bit shorter pace. I'm still expecting to pot this red and get position on a colour. Only thing he may be concerned about in potting the red, he may knock the pink into a safe position, which is the last thing he wants. Well, he didn't have to catch the pink that full, and he looks to be perfect on the black to run through for the last red into the same pocket. Well, he's come a little bit too straight on this. But do you feel if he could get this last red, get good position on a colour, the frame's at his mercy, and he looks cool enough.
38.
Key shot coming up. If he gets on the yellow as he should clear up.
Not done much wrong. Just missed one ball.
Seven.
All four remaining colours still needed.
54.
Not perfect on the blue. And not perfect on the pink. So, 2 balls, but not straightforward. Deep breath. Getting himself ready for this big shot on the pink.
Euan Henderson, 59.
How relieved Jimmy White must be. Surely Henderson would have potted the black had that pink gone in. As it was, White just needed the pink. So, a great frame for openers.
Yes, a very advertising starter, whetting the taste buds for the second course. It's a point each. It's White to play.
How about this one, Clive?
I think this is more like it, combined with a modicum of safety, getting the cue ball back to Borg if he misses it. He'd like to play it in the right corner, but if he did that, he's got the pink to avoid. Hit it much too thin.
Yes, and as you said, pink to avoid. He didn't. Jimmy White can tie.
Three. Seven.
Position for pink is going to be the key. Position for pink in such a way that he can get on the black.
Well, they do say that Jimmy White is one of the best players in the game with the rest. To pot pink and black, he'll need to be.
18.
Very good screw shot with the rest. At least he got it near enough to the black to,
Jimmy White, 18.
well, near enough to the black to give himself a good chance of playing a decent safety, but he perhaps played it hastily. He should have left the black a lot nearer the baulk cushion than that. This black for a 2-1 lead to Henderson. Very near, and near enough for the cue ball to return the full length of the table.
Good containing safety shot from Jimmy White.
Lucky to get away with that.
Yes. I'm sure if Euan could try the double on the black and be able to get the white ball near the baulk cushion, sort of a shot for nothing, he might attempt the double. But I don't think you can play it like that. That's what he tried, but as I say, I didn't think he had the angle on the double to play it as a shot for nothing. And it's a chance for Jimmy White.
Yes, he's left the cue ball too near the baulk line. And White ties the frame. So the third frame requires an extra black. Referee Paul Harrison respots the black and will spin the coin for one player to call.
Tells it is.
And Euan Henderson won the toss. Good toss to win. But maybe not now. Chance for Jimmy White.
First frame to White on the pink, second frame to Henderson, break 103, third frame White on a tie-break black. White leads 2 frames to 1.
Well, it promised a lot, and what a start to it all. Without doubt, the best of the match so far. It's calmed down a bit since then. I can just pop you inside to show you exactly what's happening. And there's the situation. They're level at 3 frames all. Henderson did lead at one stage, but level at 3 frames all. And as for the match on the other table, where lowly Drew Henry from Scotland is a frame up on the world's number 8, Darren Morgan from Wales. Henry leading Morgan 8 frames to 7. That's it from me. The rest of your snooker, including Jimmy White, that's on BBC One. That's in Sports Night, which is already underway. I'll see you tomorrow, but snooker across on BBC One. scored by 11 players, and Ronnie O'Sullivan there with one. Jimmy White, 6 times in the final of the World Championship and 6 defeats. Tonight faces another wall. Defeat in round 1 drops him out of the elite top 16. At the end of session 1, White was second best. Tonight he faces a season in the qualifiers. Yes, good evening in Sheffield and everywhere else that watches snooker. Saves a special welcome for Jimmy White and everyone waiting tonight to see if Jimmy can take his allotted place in the last 16 of this Embassy World Championship. Let's see how it all fits into the draw. Defending champion Stephen Hendry there at the top. Now plays Gary Wilkinson. They start tomorrow. Tonight Dave Harold sets out against the man who beat John Parrott, Rod Lawler. Ronnie O'Sullivan's gone to a 6-2 lead over Tony Drago this afternoon. Sparkling stuff. At the bottom of the draw, the 2 former champions, Davis and Griffiths. But the last slot to be filled there for the right to play Peter Ebden is going to be settled here tonight. Jimmy White then, as I say, 6 losing appearances, the most famous record in snooker, and he hasn't had a good season. He hasn't figured in a semi-final in 13 tournament appearances this season. What about Euan Henderson, the Scot? He's 28, he comes from Glenrothes, he was born in Australia, he's a lowly 90th in the rankings, and as I said, he's making his Crucible debut. Well, last night is a pretty cagey old session they had. A lot of high-quality snooker, ended with Euan Henderson taking a final frame for a 5-4 overnight lead. So let's start where they left off. Frame 10, the first of tonight, is John Spencer and Clive Everton providing the commentary. And Jimmy is leading 6-1, and there's a red on there.
Foul. Euan Henderson, 4.
Had to trust to luck to some extent. Unlucky to going off.
Yes, and that shot won't do Euan's confidence any good. He missed that by a good 6 inches.
Yes, off a straight pot as well. And he was knocking those in last night.
Yes, it's funny though, here at the Crucible. Don't matter how many times you've been here before, the first frame, there's always a lot of pressure on. And it always helps if you can get in with a few easy shots.
1.
And Jimmy's got that chance here. This time finish perfect. Get the pink into play, pink into the centre.
5. 11.
Well, that wasn't the best shot in the world from Jimmy. Easy red, but again, difficult to get on a colour.
Well,
Now, has he knocked that red far enough to leave the... Well, apparently the blue will go, so this does make a difference. Now you have to say this is a great chance for Jimmy.
$24. 25.
Plenty of room over the left-hand side of the table, so no danger of cannoning into another ball.
30. 31.
Yes, and the way he's queuing now, this looks as though it could be a bit of a formality. 32 points in front, pink to follow, and a simple red into the opposite corner.
$37. 38. 44. 45.
52 in front,
51.
just one more red required.
52.
Jimmy looking full of confidence.
58. 59.
White has been saying for a couple of months how well he's been playing in practice, but so far he hasn't brought that kind of form into the arena, but perhaps he's going to do that tonight.
65. 66.
Yes, again, the Crucible is a special place for snooker players, and I think
Jimmy
it
White.
brings the best out of Jimmy White.
Yes, Jimmy rubbed the back of his head. That was enough. He was back level at 5-all, and what was it? 16 minutes later, he was ahead 6-5. He stole the next on the pink. Here's frame 12. This is Henderson. Nothing scored yet.
Again, the mood is in. I think Jimmy will take this red on into this left corner.
Sorry, John. I was just going to say, it's not so much his mood, it's his cueing. He really is hitting the ball well.
Yes, I don't know what it is. There just seems to be something about him tonight. He looks comfortable, cueing well, and thinking well. And that was a great opening red. I can't see from this angle, but it looks as though that pink may go into this left corner.
Seven.
Obviously it will, so that makes things a lot easier for Jimmy. $14. $20. Yes, I think Jimmy here is thinking of potting the red, screwing a cannon onto the other red for the pink into the right middle.
21. $27. $28.
Couldn't avoid cannoning the second red there, so this isn't the ideal angle on the pink.
$34.
Yes, I don't think we're seeing Jimmy White hitting the ball and looking as confident this season as he is doing tonight.
35.
Looking just like the old Jimmy White to me.
$41.
Yes, no sign of the unforced errors which have been blighting his game in the last couple of seasons. Although he did play quite well to get to the semi-finals here last year.
42. $48. 49.
Paul Harrison is the referee.
Yes, this is looking good again for Jimmy. I think the red below the pink. Follow this blue. Well,
54.
first mistake. Didn't get quite enough side on the white. Maybe annoyed at that because that would have been end of frame. Well, I think he's looking at the red just above the black. Surely he's not playing this as a cut. Wow.
55.
This is the Jimmy White of old.
Total clearance on the cards here.
62.
He can get a red away from the black in a couple of shots. Or maybe he won't even need
63.
to. He plays the reds in a certain order.
That's end of frame, and I'm
69.
sure we'll see him go for the black now.
70. $77. $78. $85. 86.
Just listen to the roar if this pink goes in.
$92.
Oh,
Jimmy White. 92. And the
Quite
frame.
carelessly misses the century, but the 92 was real quality. He goes 2 frames clear at 7-5.
Yeah, remember, this is still a first rounder. It's the best of 19 and the first of 10. Into frame 13, and Jimmy's pondering. All the balls are still on the table, but he's snookered behind the brand.
well, as he left Euan here, it appears he has.
One. Eight. Nine. 16. Seventeen. 24. 25.
So good, steady
28.
start to a break from Euan, and deservedly so after that excellent snooker he played.
$29. 36. 37.
Euan Henderson is a much better player than his world ranking of 90th would suggest.
Yes, it's hard to believe when you see him playing like this, but he is number 90 in the rankings.
44.
Never been in any trouble at all throughout this break.
45.
Strange thing is that apart from winning 5 matches to qualify for the Crucible, he's hardly won a match this season.
$52.
One of Henderson's problems this summer was the heat that the qualifying competitions were conducted in. You remember the summer heat wave at Blackpool? Well, some players could cope with it. Henderson apparently couldn't, but he can stand the heat of the Crucible.
$53. 60.
Well, not exactly what he played, but still a nice angle on the red to go down for the blue.
$61.
You have to give Euan credit here. This is a great reply after sitting out a full frame.
36.
Good mental attitude he appears to have.
Yes, and this red to put him 67 in front, 67 on the table.
67.
The black to follow, that should be end of frame.
Euan Henderson, 74.
Nevertheless, White needs 2 snookers.
He didn't get the snookers. He pulls one back. White still ahead 7-6 on the other table. In the second rounder, Dave Harold 4-3 up against Rod Lawler. That's the situation and all the rest of the action. And Jimmy White to a finish. Is he in or is he out? 45 minutes with Dougie Donnelly.
And from Clive Everton.
One.
Yes, and that was a lot better shot than it looked. You knew he would be leaving Jimmy should he miss it, and had to force it in to get down for the blue. So now giving himself a good chance to get back into this frame.
And if he doesn't win this frame, he's 3 down with 4 to play.
6. Seven. 14.
Always have this red to left middle as the saver.
15.
Yes, left himself a little straight, however, on the blue, so probably the red below the pink into the left-hand black pocket after this shot.
Twenty. 21. 28. 29. 36.
Well, I think he played for the red at the back of the pack there, but he hasn't got the red to the centre.
Euan Henderson, 36.
Yes, I think he just ran out of position there. I think it was after that red at the back of the pack into the left-hand black pocket.
Unforced error, nevertheless.
One.
Yes, and you can't afford any unforced errors by Jimmy in this sort of mood.
9.
Jimmy looking at the 3 reds, but I don't think any of those are potable, so he's going to have to develop them.
16. $17.
Overran his intended position. He's left the cup on the black thinner than he wanted to.
Yes, he was making sure he had an angle, but as you say, he's overdone it, but he's still taking it on. And he'll be playing this with a trace of right-hand side on the white to just split those 3 reds.
Well, Isaac Newton was right after all. Force of gravity did take it in eventually.
25. $32.
Well, not the desired position, but may have been a little fortunate. Looks as though it will go.
33.
So just this last red required.
40.
Wow. That was a bit near Jorish. But White's safely past the post now.
47. 49. 52. 56. 61.
He's playing with much of his old self-assurance.
67 and the frame.
And that 67 clearance to pink puts him 3 up with 4 to play at 9-6.
That frame 16 went to Euan Henderson with the help of a 66 break, 9-7, and then breaks of 30 and 50 gave us the Scot the next. And suddenly White's under pressure again at 9-8. Here's frame 18, Henderson at the table. He's 8-24 behind.
No, has he been unfortunate? Can't see from here, but Jimmy may be able to get through between the red and pink.
Foul. And a miss. Euan Henderson, 6.
Well, the referee has given a miss because Jimmy could hit the reds, but I'm quite sure Euan won't have it put back and risk Jimmy potting it.
It also lets the referee out of the onerous responsibility of replacing all those balls.
There's certainly nothing simple here. So Euan taking the middle of those 3 reds into the left-hand centre. Well, that's a good pot. And now what a chance.
Jimmy White knows there's a real possibility he could have to play a deciding 19th frame.
Yes, Jimmy set off playing so well. He just seems to have gone
5.
off the boil a bit. Probably the pressure's got to him.
But also, Euan Henderson has kept the pressure on him.
12.
He played 2 very strong frames to get from 3 down with 4 to play to 1 down with 2 to play. And he's going strongly here
20.
to try to save the match for a 3rd time.
$21. $26. $27.
Played a superb safety shot.
Yes, there were 2 risky reds he could have had a go at. But if Henderson gets this escape wrong, it could be his last shot of the match.
Yes, and I can't see any particular red he can lie against, which would guarantee it to be safe. Well, that's a pretty good shot. Or will that red pass the black? Certainly not as easy as Jimmy expected.
One.
This looks pretty good, though. He's just got to steady himself here.
Well, it does now.
8. Nine.
The pink's causing him a bit of trouble here, because it's blocking those two reds into this right corner. But Jimmy still has a red into the right centre.
$17.
A little bit lucky to have a shot at the pink there. Not a good positional shot at all.
Yes, tense moments. Could take the black, of course.
The black, no certainty.
As for the spider, so I think he's taking the pink. Well, got the pink, but didn't get high enough up the table. He's just had a look
23.
at the two reds for the centre pocket. And it looks as though he's attempting it.
24.
That could be end of frame. Just black and one more red required. And you'll hear the biggest roar Sheffield's heard for some time.
$32.
White's won it now. Henderson gave it his best shot. And a fine effort it was too.
39.
White was 5-4 down overnight. He led 9-6.
47.
Henderson levelled at 9-all.
49.
And after a deciding frame, great tension, Jimmy White has come
52.
through. A desperately needed win.
56.
He stays in the World Championship.
56.
He stays in the top 16. His 56th break in the deciding frame leaves him